All right, welcome back to Arctic Ice Arena here in Orland Park, Chicago. Fox takes on St. Louis Junior Blues, game 2 of the Tier 1 Elite Hockey League Showcase. Fox comes in 1-0, beating North Jersey in overtime in the first game. Starting lineup, going to have Chase Hanrahan in net, Andrew Krochok and Jack Langen at D, Braxton Penny, Easton Ball, Cale Thorrington at forward. Update, if you didn't see my post on the North Jersey player, some of our boys reached out to him via social media. He has a concussion, but he is okay, all things considered. So that's great news. Penny in to take the draw. Ties this up, one St. Louis. They take it to their D. Tail in on the forecheck. Chip through the middle. Past him. Tail with the hit, puck in deep. Chase plays this around for Tail. Tail in his feet, Andrew skates into it. Andrew misses Jack. Jack off the boards for Ball. Ball through the middle, doesn't connect. Comes to Langen. Langen over to Cale. Cale chips this in deep, gets a change. Ball on the forecheck, chip by the goalie. St. Louis through the middle, connects. Near side. Connects on him. Parker picks this up. Toysher with it in the middle. He has Adams off the bench. Hits him. Enters with Dylan and Ryan. Ryan takes this along the goal line. Granville calling for it. Puck around the edge. Shipped out of the zone now by St. Louis. Granville with a hit. Puck gets through on Chase. Chase with a new glove today. So we'll see how comfortable he is with that. Had a glove malfunction during TPH during the week. He's got a brand new stark white glove against his pads. Faceoff will come out of the zone here. Dylan, Ryan, Ryder, Granville, Duraney. Ryder with it to Jack. Jack drops for Parker. Parker for Adams. Adams pokes ahead. Oh, we thought he had Ryan poked right to the D, though. Adams picks this off, but in onside, or offside, rather. St. Louis with it. Off the board. Connects. At the blue line. Enters the zone. Poked away by Toyser. Poked not out of the zone. Back to Granville. To Duraney. To Adams near side. Adams far side to Lakefield. Lakefield enters. Tips ahead to Ryan. Ryan. Backhander. Misses both Dylan and Ryder. St. Louis exits. Jack stands him up. Puck poked in deep. Shot from the goal line. Chase sticks it behind the net. Runs all the way around. I think their helmets are stuck together. Yep. Yeah. Whistle for two helmets stuck together. Face off will come out of the zone. Hartz, Molyneux, and Taya. Coops, Fink. Face off to Coops, over to Fink. Fink exits. Chips ahead to Kai. Kai enters the zone. Got Hartz right in the middle. Kai 3-on-1. Not going to get that through. And Taya comes over. Moves this in deep. Kai behind the goal line with it now. Taken by St. Louis. Chips through the middle. Connects. Passing Taya. Exits. Through the middle. Hartz gets a stick on this. St. Louis takes it. Shot goes wide. Coops got a stick on this. Hartz pokes it back behind the goal line. St. Louis with it. Centering pass. Chase gloves it. Puck was just trickling along the ice. Chase scoops this up. Face off to Fink. The ball. He's got Day up ahead. Doesn't go through him. Ball with it behind the net. Skates all the way around. Backhands one. Too far for Andrew. Andrew skates into it to hash one. Pokes off his stick. Day for it. Day down low. Gets Chase now with Penny. St. Louis rims this around. Out of the zone. Langen backhands this. Glove down. Nope. St. Louis with it. Penny on the forecheck. Enters the zone. Pass doesn't connect. Langen to Day. Day to Dylan. Dylan's with Penny. 2-on-1. Dylan in, over to Braxton, cut off by the St. Louis player. Braxton shoots wide. Rimmed around. Adams just throws this in deep, hits the St. Louis stick, goes in behind the goal now. Dylan on the forecheck. St. Louis sets up, both teams change. St. Louis takes it back in the D zone, drops, connects, near side, through the middle, that connects. Gates in, onside, through the middle, pass taken away by Krochuk. Dylan, off a stick, right back to himself, comes to Andrew. Andrew enters the zone, knocked off his stick, chip past Ryder. Numbers the other way. Gets around Kai 2-on-1. Andrew gets back, makes it 2-on-2. Langen pokes it into the wall. St. Louis still with it, near side now. In the corner. Andrew takes it away on the goal line. Bouncing puck comes to St. Louis in the slot. Kai pokes it away. Adams with it off the glass. Out of the zone. Kai brings it right back in now. Kai chips. Glove down by St. Louis. Through the middle, that connects. Catches Fox on the change. Shot. Scores. Matea, Hartz, Kai, Delaney, Granville. 1-0 St. Louis. They have one to Granville. D to D to Parker. Parker near side to Jake. Jake, red line, chips in, goes and gets it. Shot, save. Oh, no! Bad whistle. That puck was loose behind the goalie, and the ref blew the whistle. Why do we not have 3 officials out here? Oh. Face off 1 to Parker. Drops to Kai. Cycled in deep to Hartz. Hartz picks it up behind the goal line. Ran off this puck. Battles back with Antea now. Hartz pulls this out on the goal line. Up top to Granville. Shot through. Up in the air. Chip by St. Louis. Out of the zone. Win numbers now 3-on-2. Parker pokes him wide. Takes it away to Antea. Antea tries to backhand one. Not out of the zone. Hits Hartz. Who gets this out. Kai with a move at the blue line. Kai picks this puck up. Walks in. Save. Oh, Parker with a shot. Goes wide. Parker down for Kai. Kai takes a look. Cycles up for Penny. Braxton and Kai. Puck top 3 to D-Ray. Parker shot. Hits KO loose in front. Save. Poke free by St. Louis. Out of the zone. Around Granville. Centering pass. Hits Penny. Loose. Chase wide. Out of the zone. Going back in. No icing. Chase sets this up for Granville. Granville takes a look. Pops out to Parker. Parker chips to Granville. Granville too far for Penny. Gets it out of the zone though. Day with a hit. Frees this up. Through the middle. That gets through. In on Parker. Drop. Turned over. St. Louis still with it though. Around Parker. Hits the side of the net. Parker kicks it to himself. Off the glass. That hits a glove. No icing. Puck in the corner. Ryan misses the hit behind the net. St. Louis still with it. 10.5 left to play. First period. St. Louis up 1-0. Goes good. Settles this. Moves it back to Fink. Misses him. Chase picks this up. Nope. Lets it go to Fink. Fink. Dylan. Ryan gloves this down. St. Louis touches it first. Ryan Lewis enters his zone. Drop. And on Coop. Centering pass from the pack. Adams through the middle. Ryan just past him. Dylan gets chased. Dylan pokes this ahead. Throws the brakes on. Cycles for Ryder. Ryder gets there. Pulls it ahead. He's got Hartz. Doesn't get to him. Ryder still with it. Fox changes behind the play. Hartz ran off this puck, chipped out of the zone. Andrew with his knee knocks this down. Andrew shields the puck, looks for help, turns up ice with it, drops for Langen. Up ahead to Antea. Antea enters the zone, chips around one, chips around two. Rammed out of play by St. Louis. Hartz, Molyneux, Antea, Langen, Krochov. Face off the left of St. Louis goalie. 9:30 left in the first period. Kai has that poked off his stick right up to Andrew. He walks down at the hash mark, drags one through, shot blocked into the corner on Hartz. Hartz with it, chips down low, taken by St. Louis. Langen steps, keeps this in, but it hits a body. Kai with the hit, frees this up, drops the Hartz back in, and then cut off by St. Louis. St. Louis D with it, chips past Kai. Enters the zone with it. Cut off by Langen, takes a look at with it in the corner now. Backhands one over to Andrew, he catches it on his backhand, heads up ice over to Jack. Jack near side now, throws the brakes on. Henning and Thornton off the bench. Kai still out, tries to chip around, can't. Comes to Langen. Jack to Kale. Kale knocked off this puck, comes free to St. Louis. Granville on it, over to Langen. Langen through the middle, hits Kale. Kale enters the zone, goes wide. Still with it, tied up, gets out for Penny. Penny comes away with it. Oh, knocked off his stick. St. Louis takes it. Exits the zone. Granville gets it on him. Chase just rims it around. St. Louis picks it up with time. Poked away by Duraney. Duraney's got ball up ahead with him. Duraney enters his own, ball in the middle. Duraney shoots, scores! Parker Duraney. Parker just beats the goalie 1-1. Knotted up, 8:08 left, first period. Dylan, Ryan, Ryder, Parker, Granville. Face off one, St. Louis. Steven with it, far side through the middle, kicked in deep. Chase rims this around, gets to Dylan. Dylan to Ryder. Ryder enters offsides. Hang on. Dylan with a stick lift, gets this to Jack, misses him though. Dylan's going to skate into it, picks this up, over to Parker. Drops to Jack Granville. Up ahead, Dylan gets a stick on this, no icing. Ryan gets Chase, he picks this up, centers one, goalie puts it right back in the corner. Dylan with it, takes a look. Ryan calling for the cycle, Dylan gives it to him. Ryan over to Parker, skips off his stick. Parker chips one through the middle for Ryder, misses him, puck comes all the way out. Chase out to the hash marks, he's going to play this. Over to Jack. Granville with it. Throws on the brakes behind the net. Up ahead to Adams. Adams turns the corner in front of Chase, takes a look. That's the reverse. Over to Costa. Costa up ice. Ryan's pass makes it through all the bodies to Kai. St. Louis takes it down. Kai picks his pocket, walks goal line, goes for the Michigan, and it doesn't connect. Shot through the crease, Fink over for it. Lifts it down off day stick. Chip past him, back to the blue line. Fink throws his kitty corner on net. Day ties him up behind the goal line. Hartz gets a stick on this. Hartz centers, Day shoots, save. Hartz with it. Gets help from Kai. St. Louis takes this away. St. Louis off the boards, not out. Kai with a stick lift, tied up. St. Louis takes this. D near side, connects. Chip past Hartz. Costa. Oh! St. Louis, backdoor, doesn't connect. Hits Costa. Down low now. Think the time. Rips it ahead to Kai. Kai takes a look. Exits the zone. Tries to chip around and does. Kai in by himself now. 1-on-5. Kai throws the brakes on. Takes a look. He's got Penny and Thornton. Kai still with it. Ran off this puck now. Gets up from Braxton. St. Louis takes this. Chips ahead. Chip past Krochok. Langen picks him up. Langen along the end line. Andrew on it. Throws the brakes on. Takes a look. Ties this up. Gets up from Braxton and Langen. Turnover now. St. Louis. Down low. Rimmed hard around. St. Louis still with it. Ran off that puck by Braxton. Andrew with it. Backhand thrown along for Langen. Langen. Kale gloves this down. Through the middle. Hits ball. It's in his feet. Doesn't know where it's at. Finds it. Rips it in deep. St. Louis goalie sets it up for the D. Behind the net. Chipped ahead. In deep. Chase out for it with Langen and Krochok back. Langen chip turned over. Misses the wide open shot. Puck in the corner. Krochok on it. Andrew chips ahead for Easton. Easton's got Ryan and Kale. Doesn't see him. Moves it to Langen. Oh, turned over. Oh, Langen accidentally placed the body, but does nonetheless. Puck in deep, in on Parker, drags it around. Shot, Chase shuts the door. Behind the net, Parker doesn't get this. St. Louis up to the deep. Walks the blue line, shot, doesn't make it through. Langen in the corner, St. Louis on the puck. D, Ryder gets a stick on this. Puck now with St. Louis. Through the middle, that's going to be an icing. Dylan, Ryan, Ryder, Parker, Jack Granville. Ryan wins this. St. Louis skates into it, though. Ryder picks his pocket, throws it in deep for Ryan. Ryan with it behind the net. Centers one. Ryder shot is blocked. Comes to Dylan at the hash mark. Backhand thrown up to Granville. Granville fans on this. 2-on-1. Dylan gets back, evens it up. Parker takes him wide. Chase shuts the door. Parker drags this along. Too far for himself. Puck comes to Dylan, though. Dylan takes a look. Exits with speed. Gains the red line. Tosses one through. That's taken away. Granville steps, though. Rips it in the rest of the way. Ryder behind the net. Applies pressure. Day with a poke check. St. Louis tied up at the blue line. Hartz knocks this out of the zone. Near side. Backhanded along. Chase out. Sets this up. Backhand one along for Hartz. Hartz skates into this. Off the boards for Day. Hits him. Day's got Antea. Day shoots. Save loose. Oh my gosh, dude. That's 2 now. They shot behind the net, won by St. Louis. Through the middle, connects. 2-on-2 on Langen and Coops. Antea gets back. Behind the net. St. Louis still with it. Cycled, nobody there. St. Louis picks this up. Hartz lifts his stick. Has that push past him. St. Louis turned over to Fink. Fink gets a little run from Coops. Fink fans on this. Sends it around. That hits it LA, or St. Louis stick in the neutral zone. Changed by Fox. St. Louis enters his own shot. 5 feet wide. At the blue line. Ball with a poke. Not out. Chip past Andrew. Andrew's tied up. Puck's loose on the goal line. Through the middle. Doesn't connect. Down low. St. Louis with it. Andrew pokes this into the corner for Penny. Braxton tries to poke his head to Kale. Can't get it there. Rim back down. Coop picks him up now. Centering pass taken by Fox. You got ball in Thornton with Andrew. To Andrew. Back to ball. The Kales misses. St. Louis with numbers in on Langen. Through the middle, doesn't connect. Kale takes this away. Langen on it. Langen soft chip for Kale. Kale, long shift by himself. Goes wide. Centers one for Dylan. Doesn't get there, but gets to Ryan. Ryan exits with it. Kale hustles off to get Ryder on. Ryan turns the corner. Bats it to himself. To Dylan. Saved. Langen on it now. To Ryan in the middle. Poked away by St. Louis. Dylan on the back check. Takes this away. St. Louis rips this down. Dylan knocks this down to Parker. Parker through the middle to Ryan. 50 seconds left in the period. Dylan skates this in. Dylan tries to go through the feet to Ryan. Poked away. St. Louis regroups down low. Ryder picks this off. Ryder on the board and boards to Ryan. Ryan centers to Dylan. Good stick by the goalie. Redirects that though. St. Louis breaks out 2-on-2. Duraney and Granville. Duraney with the body puts him down. St. Louis with the puck still though behind the net. Granville gets a stick on this. Picks his pocket. Jack takes a look. Takes his time. Off the boards for Ryan. For Ryder. St. Louis still on it. D to D. Dylan gets past him. Poked away though. 15 seconds left in the period. St. Louis on it in the corner. Through the middle. Connects. Shot blocked by Dylan. Loose in the corner. Granville. Hartz. Granville skates this out. Tries the backhand one. That's out of the zone. That will do it for the period, though. Fast-moving period. 1-1 score headed into the second. Duraney is your goal scorer. Hanrahan, Molyneux, and Taya, Hartz, Coops, Fink are your six. Hartz slides into the dot. And loses it. St. Louis with it. Hartz gives chase. St. Louis with it. Through the middle. Hooked away by Antaya. Antaya up ice. Hits Hartz in the middle. Kicks to himself. Too far. Hartz gives chase. Runs the body. St. Louis takes this puck. Chips past Antaya. Coops picks him up. Gets around Costa. Costa with the body. Frees this up. In the slot. Shot. Block. Chase save. Loose. Chase with another save and a hold. Ball, Penny Thornton over the boards now, along with Langen and Krochov.
That's pretty good.
Penny loses this. St. Louis on it. Kale pressures, gets a stick on this. Langen gloves it down. Back ends it along for Kale. Too far. St. Louis with it. Jack to Kale. Kale, woo. Pitchforks this into the LA bench. Same 5. D zone draw to the right of Chase. Penny can't get this. Tail ties this up. Shot weak, loose. Penny on it. Penny fumbles this, not out of the zone. Throw chunk on it. Andrew turns him away behind the goal line. Penny takes this away. Braxton exits with speed. He's got ball too far for him. St. Louis takes this chip past Easton in the zone. St. Louis gathers. Shot blocked by Braxton. He's down. It's under him. Ball takes this away. Goes up to the point, though. Shot blocked by Easton. He's down. Out of the zone. Kale gives chase. Kale pokes this away. St. Louis has to regroup. They get it in deep. On Langenstick. Jack with it. Chips ahead. He's got Dylan off the box. Dylan to Ryan. Ryan enters. Ryan goes wide. Shot. Saved. St. Louis breaks this out. Chipped ahead through the neutral zone now. Chip past Parker in deep. Granville sizes him up. Plays the body. Takes the puck. Parker with it now. Parker has that knocked off his stick. St. Louis with it. Parker poked past him again. Ryan picks this up behind the net. Throws the brakes on. Now he gives himself some time and space. Ryan takes a look through the middle. Hits Ryder. Ryder tips this into himself. Ryder's got Dylan in the middle. Ryder just doesn't quite get there. Goalie pokes this away. Pass doesn't connect for St. Louis. Now it does. Break out in front of the Fox bench. Neutral zone. Granville cuts this off. Slides it back out of the zone. Adams with it. Drops to Ryan. Hits Dylan. Dylan gets this at the goal line. Takes a look. Reinforcements come in for Fox. Chipped out of the zone. Pass Fink. Fink on his horse. Picks this up at the goal line. No icing. Jack rims this hard around for Hartz. Gets a stick on this. Through the middle, taken by St. Louis. Had Kai up ahead. And Taya picks up the forecheck. Chipped ahead. Kai. Oh, can't get enough of this. St. Louis breaks it up. Hartz with the hit. Puck in deep on Chase. Chase gathers this. Rips it ahead to Kai. Kai takes a look. Through the middle. Hartz back to Kai. Back to Hartz. Back to Kai. Hooked off his stick. In on Parker and Fink. Back ender. Chase saves. Covers. Penny's line back out. It's going to be with Costa and Fink.
You take a lot of that up today about
And he wins this draw in the corner for Fink. Off the board for Easton. Day enters the zone. Goes wide. Nothing there. Got Costa up top. Cycles it down the ball instead. Ball cuts the corner, turns, shot, saved. In the corner on Liam's stick. Liam pokes it away from him. Gets it back though. Down low for ball. Skips off his stick through the middle. St. Louis takes this with numbers. Penny, Day get back. Splits the D. Shot. Fink gets a piece of this. Puck up in the air behind the net. Fink ties up. Gets out from Braxton. Braxton comes away with it behind the net. Takes a look. He's got Liam. Hits Liam. Skates it out. Gets the red line. Goes wide. Chips in deep. Fox gets the change. Ryan's line out now with Langen and Krochuk. Tipped in deep. Chase plays this behind the net. Backhands it along for Ryder. Ryder with it. Backhands it back to Andrew. Andrew stops this. Turned over. St. Louis on it. Gains the middle. Shot wide. Big bounce off the boards. Andrew collects this to Dylan. Dylan through the middle. Hits Ryan. Ryan over to Dylan. Dylan back to Ryan. Misses. Comes to Langen up top. Langen tucks this in deep for Ryder. Ryder to Dylan. To Ryan. Taken away by St. Louis. Ryan gathers it back though. Ryan through the contact. Gets help from Ryder. St. Louis takes this momentarily. Dylan steps. Poke taken by St. Louis. In on Langen and Krochuk. 4-on-2. Jack with a good play. Stuffs this. Forwards get back. Evens it up over the net. Puck's not out of the zone. Rims all the way around. Ryder steps down for it. Pulls it ahead. Taken from him. Gets it back, though. Gets it to Andrew. Andrew ties this up. Kicks it to himself to Ryder. Ryder takes a look through the middle. Hits Ryan. Ryan to Langen. Langen gains the red line. He's got Dylan with him. Fox changes. Oh, no. Jack dumps it. Nobody there. And behind the D, Dylan gets back, though. Evens this up. Dylan for Andrew. Turned over. Shot. Chase sucks this up. Hart's in to take the draw now. Up to the point, and Taya with a big hit puts him down. St. Louis with it. Hart's with a hit now. Comes to Duraney. Parker knocked off this puck, turned over, chipped away. Hart's with a good stick. St. Louis takes it right back up. Poked away by Jack Granville behind the goal line. Jack turns him over. Puck up in the air. St. Louis pulls this out. Centering pass. Kai with the stick. Turns it over to the top. D with a shot through. Tipped wide. Pops out. Granville puts this along the wall. And Taya, doesn't get there. And then behind the net, Parker near side. Parker gets bodied off this puck. Hits the ref skate. The Hearts out of the zone. Icing. Ryan, Ryder, Dylan, Costa, Fink. Face off one clean. St. Louis shot. Chase blockers this up top. Pass Dylan. Dylan skates into him. St. Louis with it though. Fink with the stick. Shot. Chase sticks this over into the near corner now. Ryder takes a hit. Gets help from Coops. Coops takes his D side. Behind the net. Costa with it. Over to Fink. The top. Ryder tips this in deep. Goalie on it. Rims this all the way around. Chip to the middle. Pusher gets the stick on it. St. Louis with it turned over in front. Ryder drops it to Ryan. And 1-on-3. Ryan goes wide. Shot. Misses. Rims all the way out. Starts St. Louis breakout. Andrew sends him wide. Poke behind the net. Andrew doesn't get there. St. Louis still with it. Sealed up along the boards. Langen turns him away. Puck down deep now. 10 minutes left. Second period. Andrew over to Liam. Turned over. St. Louis shot blocked by Langen. Sent through the middle. Doesn't connect with Braxton. Chip doesn't pass Braxton. Kale with the hit. Frees this up. Krochok with it to Kale. Kale to Intea. Intea's got Kale with him. Jake has that poked away by the goalie at the last second. Rimmed around to Penny. Penny tries to go down for Kale. Cut off by St. Louis. Poke past Penny. Andrew on it. Thrown in deep. Penny touches up. Heads in with Intea. Rimmed around. Through the middle. Kale takes this away. Poked away to Kale again. Kale drags this through. Tied up. Kicks it into the corner. Kale swipes it along for Braxton. Braxton went the wrong way, though. Or the other way, I should say. Oh, hits Intea. Intea to Braxton. Shoots. Oh, just misses. You got to call that. You got to call the one before it then. Poked around. Shot in. Taken away. Penny throws this out of the zone. St. Louis with it. In deep. Chase plays this for Jack. Langen with it. Rims it hard around for Intea. Intea has this stick tied up. Can't get that out. Turned over St. Louis. Past Andrew. He pokes this behind the net. St. Louis still with it. Andrew turns him over. Takes it away. Andrew tries to back in one. Can't. Intea doesn't get there. Long shift for these five from Fox. Shot. Chase save. Loose. Penny throws this out. Fox gets a change here. Goalie probably shouldn't have played that. It was going to be an icing. And Granville, long stick, turns it over to Ball. Ball and Kai. Ball walks in, drags around, turned over. That should do it for an ice cut. All right, welcome
It's
back.
nice for watching the game up here.
Oh, for sure. It's nice when they have a few rows and
Knowing that.
exactly. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's the big thing. All right, welcome back. Second half, evening game, Saturday night rather. Here,
Sitting next to you,
Arctic
I'm learning the names of all the guys on your team.
yeah, right. Appreciate it. Offensive zone draw for Fox. Ryan, Dylan, Ryder, Jack Langan, and Crocombe. 7:54 left. 1-1 tie. Parker Delaney is your lone goal scorer. Hanrahan in net. Face off won by St. Louis. Behind the net. D with it. Rips through the middle. Knocked down by Ryan. Skates into the nope. Poked ahead. St. Louis with it. Ryder drops for Dylan. Too far. Dylan and the D meet at the puck. Won by St. Louis to Ryan. Ryan, oops, sorry about that. No motion sickness here. St. Louis takes this hooked away right to them. Shot. Chase sticks this into the corner. Andrew slides this up top for Adams. Adams tries to go back through the feet to Andrew, but it comes to Dylan. Dylan, still with it. Has his stick tied up, turned over. In the middle, connects, backdoor, shot, Chase saves. Hanrahan with a big save to keep this 1-1 early in the second half. Dylan pokes ahead. Couple of sevens tied up. Andrew throws this in the corner. Rimmed around, Ryan with it. Fox gets a partial change. Ryan Ryder, Kai, Jack Granville, Parker Moran. Through the middle, picked off by Kai. Kai delays. Now he rims in deep. Lets Ryan get a change. Hart's out and Taya out. Kai on the forecheck. Parker picks this off. Pops to Kai. Kai rides the blue line. Gets into himself. One behind him. Kai's going to draw a penalty here. Fox will go to the power play. And Taya with the puck. Taken by St. Louis, and that will draw the whistle. Fox to the power play. 6:34 left, second period. I didn't see the signal, but most likely a hook here from St. Louis. Toysher, Lakefield, Adams, Prochalton, Delaney. Face off clean, went up to Parker. Parker over to Andrew. Andrew has to tuck this in deep. Aggressive PK here from St. Louis. Dylan rims this around. Ryan at the wall. Picks this up on the forehand. Drops it up top to Parker. Parker off the blue line. Drops to Ryan. Ryan down for... Oh, Ryder. Ryder made a nice pass to Andrew. It skipped off his stick. In the corner. Dylan with it. Drags it along. Pokes it to Andrew. Andrew up top to Parker. Parker rides the blue line. Drops for Ryan. Ryan top of the circle. Shot. Save. Loose. Dylan can't find it. St. Louis does, though. Out of the zone. Chase way out to play it at the hash mark. Chase sets this up on the dot for Andrew. Andrew behind the net. Andrew escapes. Turns right back behind the net. Ryan tucks down low. Picks this up from Andrew. Ryan off the boards to himself. Ryan skates this through the middle. In with Parker. Drops it to him. Parker's got Dylan and Langan. Andrew off. Jack Langan on. Dylan behind the net, pulls it to himself in the corner. Up top for Parker. Parker, forehand, around one. At the dot, on his backhand, poked off his stick right to St. Louis. Chip just past Langan. Out of the zone. Fox looks to change up here. High, Penny, ball, Coops, Langan. 38 seconds left on the power play. Kai skates into this. Through the middle, Kai blows the tire, loses his stick, takes a St. Louis player down. Easton with the puck, though. Easton behind the goal line, behind the net now. Kai gets, Easton was looking for Kai in the middle, doesn't connect. Puck all the way down on Chase. Stops this, rips it up ahead for ball. Ball drops to Kai. Kai skates into it. Takes the pass to Langan, skates to the middle, chips ahead for ball. Ball throws the brakes on. 10 seconds left on the power play. Easton tied up, pops three to Penny, comes up to Coop. Chase lets the boys know 5 seconds. 2 and 1. Coop's on it. Coop's down low. Penny. Ball over the net. Penny. Even. Langan. Shot hits a stick into the netting. Out of play. Going to send out Hart's Thornton and Taya. Granville, Delaney. Hart didn't take the draw. Takes off one along the wall. St. Louis takes it. Poked around Parker. Gives him a little shove. Granville for it. Granville behind the goal line. Parker rims this around for Kale. Kale with a little bit of time. Picks this up ahead to Hart. Doesn't get out. Kale gets a stick on this. Run far side by St. Louis. Behind the net now. St. Louis picked his pocket. There's Jack Granville. Jack doesn't get this clear. Puck comes to Mateo. He's got Kale with him. Jake goes wide. Jake has his stick lifted. Picked his pocket. Delaney pokes this free to Mateo. Mateo rips in deep. Jake ran off this. Fox gets a change. St. Louis with the puck. Ryan's line out now. Going in deep on net. Chase pops this free. St. Louis shot wide. Chase makes a save there. Ryan to Ryder. Ryder enters the zone with Dylan and Ryan. Ryan calling for it. Ryder's pass is deflected up into the air in the corner. St. Louis escapes with it. In on Costa. Costa lines him up. He just pitches in deep. Chase gloves this down. Rims it behind his net. Big bounce out. Fink plays this along. Skips Dylan's stick out of the zone. St. Louis with it. The red line in deep. Chase. Whoa, bad hop. Chase corrals it at the goal line. Flips it behind the net for Coops. Coops avoids the hit. Kicks it to himself. Pokes it off the boards. Right to St. Louis though. Pitched in deep. Chase glove save. Face off one. Fink with it. Behind the net goes to ball. Doesn't connect. St. Louis with it. Penny turns him over. Penny, Day, slid in deep. St. Louis corrals. D to D in front of the net. Through the middle. Doesn't connect. It's on Chase, so saves covered. Face off one of St. Louis up to the point. Shot through, tips. Penny cuts this off in front. Braxton has it taken off his stick. Ran off this puck. Fink with it now behind the net. Fink for ball. Ball tips out of the zone. Rim back in deep. Chase plays it. St. Louis touches up. Behind the net. Fink. Over to Coops. Coops takes a look. Skates it up ice. Red line. Turned over. Fink. 1-on-2. Drop. Fink gets a stick on this. Slides in into the corner. Behind the net, side of the net, Penny tips it out of the zone. Not out of the zone. Out of harm's way. St. Louis in the middle. Skips the stick. Out of the zone. Box full change here. Molyneux, Thornton, Hart, Langen, and Coops. In the zone, in on Costa. Dropped. Side of the net. Shot goes through the crease. Shot. Chase glove save. Face off, tied up in the dot. Hartz puts it in the corner, gives Chase. Rims it hard around. Chipped up, D with it. Kai pokes his head to Kale. Kale up in the air. That's a high stick. Or not. Turned over. St. Louis with it. Poked away. Hits Hartz. Hartz knocks this down. Kai can't kick this. St. Louis with a 3-on-2. Offsides. Ryan, Dylan, Ryder, Andrew, Jack. St. Louis cut off by Andrew. Andrew at the dot, takes a look, takes it behind the net. 1 minute left. Andrew off the board for Dill. Dylan, heads up ice. Pitches in on net. Goalie paddles this down. Slides behind the net. Ryan takes it away. Poked it away to Ryder. Ryder ridden off this puck. St. Louis exits with it. Langen cuts this off. Throws it in deep. Fox touches up. Ryan on him. Ryan with the hit. Puck pops free. Dylan picks him up. Dylan almost swiped this down. Ryder cuts in the middle for it. Centering pass doesn't connect. Langen picks it up in front of the Fox bench. Jack backhands to Dill. Dill takes a look. Ryan in the slot. Ryan around one. Oh, split it past himself. Langen picks this up. Jack takes a look. 15 seconds left to Andrew. Andrew up ahead to Ryan. Ryan with time. 10 seconds. Enters the zone. He's got Day and Hart. Oh, shot. Save Ryan. Save. Ryder saved. Richie's pulling chase here. We'll go 6-on-5 with 1.3 seconds left. Penny on. Ball on. Ryan comes off. Braxton's going to look to win this to Easton. And he doesn't.
That's not your regular coach.
We'll start with Chase and net. Granville and Delaney at D. Hartz and Taya Molyneux at forward. Hart's in to take the draw. 1-1 tie. Parker Delaney still your lone goal scorer. Face off, tied up. Hartz wins this forward, but right to St. Louis. Through the middle, connects, past Jack. In the middle, shot wide. Chase saves this, puts it behind the net. Parker takes this away. Chips through the middle. That's out of the zone. High skates into it. He's got a tail with him. Offsides. Dylan Ryan Ryder out now with Jack Granville and Parker. Clean win to Granville. Rips hard in. Goalie stops this. Rims it right back to Ryder. Granville holds the line. Taken by St. Louis. Dylan back on D with Delaney. Fox evens up numbers. Puck pop free to Ryder. He fans on it. Chips it. Gets it. Not out yet. Oh, bouncing puck comes to St. Louis in the slot. Goes wide. Shot. Chase save. Loose in the crease. Parker pokes this free. St. Louis picks it back up. Shot through. Goes wide. Ryder gets this out of the zone. St. Louis looks to break it right back in. St. Louis, near side. Ryder to a Granville to Ryder to Ryan. Throws the brakes on, avoids one. Tips to Dylan. Off Dylan's skate in the zone. Through the middle, connects with St. Louis. They retreat back to the hash mark. In front of the goalie now. Pass ball. Fink stands him up. Reverse to Easton. Easton doesn't get much of this. St. Louis still on it. Shot through, hits a body. Fink can't poke this free. St. Louis still with it. Down low. Coops gets a stick on this. Fink rimmed out. Kale steps on this. Off the glass for Penny. Hits him. Braxton's got ball. Doesn't corral it, though. We're going to get a high stick here. Yep. Faceoff will be in the Fox offensive zone here. Penny, Thornton, ball. Fink, Coops. Easton in to take the draw. Loses it. St. Louis on it. Kale picks this off. Goes down low, has his pocket pick, taking off this puck. Puck iced down by St. Louis. Same five will stay out. Rates off clean win by St. Louis. Exits his zone. Coops stands him up. Puck in deep on Fink's stick. Fink turns the corner behind the net. Goes the brakes on. To Coops. To Kale. Kale cross ice. Hits a stick in the zone. Ball gives chase. St. Louis behind the net with it. Chipped around Kale. Hits a stick of hearts. Thrown in deep. Fox gets a change. Day pokes this out of the zone. Thrown in deep. Side of the net. Hits the back of the net. Langen picks this up in the Zan corner. Langen reverses. Oh, Day wanted that puck. He was open to Andrew with it. Andrew to Langen. Langen to Hartz. Hartz backhand. Cut off by Kai. Pulls him in the zone. He's got Prochok in the middle. Sends a rolling puck through. Langen's going to have to get on his horse to get over. Langen and Hartz even up numbers. Side of the net. No shot. Hartz with the hit. Puck comes through to Kai. Kai drags along. Kai's in. One-on-one. Kai side of the shot over the net. Puck pops free to Day. Day drags around. Knocked off his stick. Kai picks it up behind the goal line. Takes a look. Shot over the net. Granville can't cut this off. It's going to come out of the zone. Jack over for it. Chase is going to play it at the goal line. Chase rims this around for Parker. Parker doesn't corral this. Minnesota takes it, keeps it in. Puck tops free to Granville rather, behind the net. Jack throws the brakes on, comes out near side. Takes a look off the boards for Day. Day gets a stick on this, gets the rest of it. Indeed. Day pokes around. He's got Dylan in the middle. Day centers one, hits a body. Behind the net, Dylan with it. Dylan to Jack Granville. Down low, doesn't connect. Day goes to get a change. So St. Louis is going to pick this up through the middle, connects. Dylan doesn't get there. Poke past Ryder and Parker. St. Louis on it. Goal line shot. Side of the net. Ryder skates into this. Turned over. Parker, Ryder. St. Louis. Chip down low. Just past the outside stick of Parker, but he gathers it back. Parker goes behind Chase. Takes a look. 12 and a half minutes left. Third period. Parker misses Ryan, but goes to Dylan. Dylan tries to chip through the middle to Ryan. Turned over. St. Louis hits Dylan. Ryder forces him back. Near side now connect. Granville gets a stick on this. St. Louis gets it in the zone. Loose in the middle. Braxton takes this away. Throws it out of the zone. Poked back in by St. Louis. They're outside. Braxton to Ryder. Enters the zone. Shot over the net. Hits the glass. Up down low. Granville ties him up. Gets help from Penny. Penny pokes this along to Ball. Ball throws this up in the air. Adams can finally get a change. Chase plays this along. Rims it around for Ball. He's not going to get there. Puck bounces back free to Easton, though. Easton out. He's got Kale up ahead. Doesn't see him. Fox enters the zone. Easton ball. Chips to Penny. Misses. Penny takes a hit, ties the puck up, gets up from Kale. Kale pokes this away. St. Louis exits with it now. Taken away by Coops and Molyneux. Coops backhands one for Kale. Kale chips ahead to Kai. Kai enters the zone, goes wide. Kai through the contact. Knocked off this puck. Rammed by St. Louis. Go through the middle. Fox misses. Coops picks this up. Throws this, not out. Shot. Ooh, Fink kicks this past Chase wide. Fink skates into it. Nope. Taken by St. Louis. Hartz tries to poke it around. Can't. In with Fink now. St. Louis takes this. Thrown through the middle. Oh, hits Antea's skate. Chase covers. Both teams up and down the ice. Ryan Dylan Ryder, Andrew Langen. Face off will be to the right of Chase. 10:27 left, third period. Face off warm by Fox. Langen skates into it. Gets help from Ryan. Ryan grabs it to Dylan. Dylan off his stick. St. Louis is going to, nope. They tried to send it in. Dylan cuts it off. Ryan in front of the St. Louis bench. Chip pass. Dylan right to Andrew. Andrew to Jack. Jack thought about going to Ryan. Goes off the board to Dylan and said Dylan. Bouncing puck's going to come to Ryan. Ryan skates into it. Cuts wide. Shot. Blocked. Right to Dylan. And he drags it just past into the back of the goal line here. Dylan with it. Battles. Gets help from Ryan. Ryan pulls it away. Centers one. Adams shoots and saves. Nets off. Penny, Thornton, Ball over the boards here. Langen and Krochoff will stay. Face off, down low. St. Louis cycles. Through the middle, doesn't connect. That's going to be an icing. Another offensive zone draw here for Fox. Ball in to take the draw. Face off one up to Jack. Langen with it off the boards. Cycles down for Braxton to Ball. Ball up to Penny. Nope. Langen bails. Flips this back in. Glove down by St. Louis. Penny. Kale. Penny. Penny turns up ice with it. Poked away. Stays on it. Penny. Kale. Oh, he fans on it. No. Chase with a save. Chase bails Kale out there. 1-1 game, 9:06. Takes off one by Ryan. St. Louis on it though. In the slot, drags him around. Parker picks him up to the point, shot through a block. Ryan he's got Dylan up ahead. Dylan on net though. Goalie's gonna have to cover it. Takes off one by St. Louis. Dylan not gonna get there. Dylan gets there now though. Rims it around for Ryder. St. Louis takes this, rims it through the middle. Connects. 2-on-2. Granville gets a stick on this. Parker picks him up. Parker with the hit. Dylan with the puck. Chips to Ryan. Too far. St. Louis rims in deep. Chase isn't going to be able to get there. Rims around to Parker. 8.5 left. Parker through the middle. Hits Ryder. Bouncing puck. Ryder hits Dill. Dylan enters the zone. Flips one through the air. Hits Ryder. He doesn't know where it's at. It's in his feet. Ryder finds it. Drops for Ryan. Ryan up top. Granville. Jack shoots. Loose. Oh, Ryan. Thea, Hartz, Molyneux, Fink, Coops. Face off. Backhands this to Coops. On the blue line, Coops sends this in deep. And Taya gets chased. And Taya gets there first. And Taya rides the boards to the middle shot. Just wide. Looking for a tip from Kai. Comes back to Jake. Jake goes down. Gets it to Kai. Kai to Fink. Fink backhands it into the soft space for Taya. Jake takes a hit. St. Louis takes the puck. Up top, Coops steps down. Gathers. Rims in deep. St. Louis with it. St. Louis, D to D behind the net. Kai's not going to get there. Hartz does, though. Hartz has Kai in front. Can't get one to him. Now he does. Kai, side of the net. Taken by St. Louis. Fink steps down. Rims it around. Too far for Kai. Kai over. Getting a stick lift. Ties this up. Keeps it in. Fox gets the change behind him. Penny turns him over. Takes the stick side up. Penny takes a hit. 2-on-2 the other way. Drop pass. Over the net. Ball. Pass the ball. Not going to get out. Chase with the save. Don't know if he even saw that. Got enough of it, though. Behind the net, Krochok and Penny. St. Louis comes out with it. Cycled behind Penny. Krochok with it. Andrew takes a look. Goes to break zone. Rips it up ahead for ball. Tips it in deep. Day gets chase. Fox changes. Behind the net. St. Louis with it. Goes down. St. Louis on it. Dylan turns him away. St. Louis exits through the middle. Pass connects. Enters his own. Ryan takes us away. Ryan's got the DP. Ryan goes in. All alone. Shoots. Saved. Ryan needed about 2 more feet to be able to elevate that. Ran out of real estate. .557 left. Face off up to Granville. Drops for Dill. Dylan over to Parker. Misses him. Poked away. Ryan out of behind the goal line now. Ryan shot. Saved. Adams to Lightfield. Dylan backhands it along for Parker. Parker sends one through. Doesn't make it all the way. Ryan backhands one. Skips over Dylan's stick. Parker steps down for it. Rims it. Hits Ryan's stick. St. Louis with it behind the goal line. Adams with the body. Turns him away. St. Louis can't get this out. Parker shot. Saved. Dylan cycles. St. Louis on it. Breaks this out. Chips past Jack. Through the middle. Connects. Shot. Parker blocks this. Oh, stick breaks. Never mind. Cycled to Granville. Turned over. Jack with it. Jack Granville turns back. Gets to Parker. Parker skates this out through the middle. Hits Adams. Hits Dylan. Dylan gloves this down. St. Louis takes it. Dylan with it now. Throws this in deep for Hartz. Mason gets chased. Off the boards. Antaya takes this. Chips ahead. Too far for himself. Slid through the middle. Chase way out to play it. Hits a stick. Chase, Coop, save, loose. Chase, save. That's in the back of the net. Arts and Taya Molyneux. Coops Fink. Coops to Fink. To the middle, hits Kai stick. St. Louis can't get there. Hart skates this in. Goes wide, centers one, nobody home, and Taya's not going to get there. Takes a hit. Kai with the puck. Kai on it. Behind the net. Picks his pocket. St. Louis moves it D to D. Coops cuts this off, keeps it in, rims it around for Kai. Settles it. Centers one. Oh, man. Thrown past Langen on it. Up ahead for Kai. Kai enters the zone. Pokes off his stick, throws the brakes on. Sends one through to Penny, tipped away. Trochok and Taya. Trochok. Trochok still with it. Andrew over to Langen. Shot over the net. That's going to rim all the way out. Andrew's going to have to race after it, and he does. Andrew sets this up. Penny, ball, Thornton, Langen join him. Drops to Braxton. Braxton skates it up ice. In around, Braxton in. Drags through, taken away. Moves it to Kale. Kale off the boards to Langen. Oh! Jack. Andrew off the boards for Kale. Kale skates into it. Pokes it into the zone. Kale around the hit. Still with it. Tries the center one. Taken by St. Louis. Behind the net. Kale cuts this off. Moves it for Braxton. Too far. Penny with a stick lift. St. Louis on it. Poked ahead. Duraney on it to Granville. Flipped in deep. Ball gets chased. Rimmed around. Stepped up by Parker. Drags through. Parker taken down. Flips through the zone. Ryan gloves this down. Up ahead. Adams kicks in deep. Chase starting to creep out of his crease here. 2.5 left. Poked around Parker. Dylan picks this up. Goes the brakes on. Takes a look. Tosses one over to Ryan. Ryan drags it ahead to himself. Ryan enters. Around one, around two. Shoots wide. Ryan still with it. Chase is out of his net. 6-on-5. Parker picks this up. Granville off. Parker with it. Parker skates this through. Around one, around two. Parker enters. Poked off his stick. Penny on it. Penny cycles down. Adams not going to get there. Trochok won't either. Andrew with it. Enters the zone. Andrew knocked off this puck. Comes to Ryder. Ryder sends one through. Save. Covered. Oh. Like we're going to get a timeout here. Empty net here for Fox. 6-on-5. Face off in the offensive zone. Dylan, Ryan, Ryder, Braxton, Andrew, Parker. Fox looking for a little bit more of that magic from this morning. It's up one by Ryan to Ryder to Parker. Parker sends one through, loose, skips over Ryder's foot. Skipped up, Parker steps, he's not going to get there. Andrew picks us up at the red line. 120, Andrew drops for Ryan. Ryan through the contact, knocked off this puck. Ryan still with it. Back into out of his zone. Andrew with it at the red line. Drops for Parker. Parker fakes the drop. Now he moves it to Ryan. Indeed. Goalie on it. Goalie trying to throw it down on net. Hits the ceiling. Ryder off. Ballsy on. St. Louis thrown out of the dot. Ryan wins this. Easton on it. Sends one through. Tip just wide. Penny shot saved. Puck thrown out of the zone. That's on net. Parker, nope, not on net. Peels out wide. No icing. Up top for Dylan. Dylan enters the zone, gets behind the D. Dylan backhands one wide. Ball picks this up. Ball with it. Sends one through. That's blocked. Comes to Dylan. Centers one out of the zone. 20 seconds left. Fox is going to get one more chance. Parker picks this up. Parker off the boards. Ryan. Ryan back. Oh, that's going to be outside. That'll be an icing. Seven seconds left. Tie out now for Braxton. Face off tied up. 1-3 behind the net. Ball. Can't get one. That's going to do it. No, it's not. 0.7 seconds left. Fox falls to St. Louis. 2-1.
All the Blues fans that were dialed in, that's where all the likes are. See you later.
Yep, have a good one. Fox back in action tomorrow against Ohio Blue Jackets. I believe it's 4 p.m. our time, 5 p.m. Eastern.